biodiversity and conservation. So first we have to know what is biodiversity and next how it is to be conserved. So biodiversity in general, it is defined as variety of organisms in an habitat. So when there are different types of plant species, animal species in a particular area, we can say it as biodiversity. Suppose a field, when a crop is grown, we cannot call it as biodiversity because a particular kind of species is grown in that area. So when there are different types of animal species, plant species, we call it as biodiversity. And it also includes different types of ecosystem and of course a different type of species. Ecosystem means it is having different types of relationship, a kind of environment between the abiotic factors and the organisms. So when there are different types of ecosystems, we can call it as biodiversity. Suppose in a forest, there are not only plants and there are animals which are present on the land, but there are other type of organisms. For example, there may be a small pond, there may be some aquatic plants and animals. So that is another type of habitat. So here we find different types of ecosystems. So when there are variety of plants and animals, we can refer it as biodiversity. Then there are three hierarchical levels of biodiversity. So they are interrelated to each other. So in a biodiversity, so there are different levels which are actually interrelated to each other. Now for example, there are three such kind of levels: the genetic diversity, the species diversity, ecological diversity. So genetic diversity, the name itself suggests genes, genetic. So there are different types of genes. So also it includes chromosomes. So when the number of the chromosomes differ and when the number of the genes or the type of the genes they differ within the species, it is called as genetic diversity. So species may be same, but the genes or the chromosomes they are different. So for example, mango is a species, but when we are having different varieties, so about nearly 1,000 varieties of mango, it is genetic diversity. Because of the genes, there is a diverse, there are variations in that species. So that is genetic diversity. Then species diversity means different type of species in a habitat. So when the species are different, so the richness of the species, the number of the species, it is called as the species diversity. Then ecological diversity, it is the variations in the biological communities and also the ecosystem in that region. So this ecosystem which is of that existing communities, so it is also considered as the ecological diversity. For example, a desert, a forest, a mangrove vegetation. So there are different types of areas, habitats. They show their own type of ecosystems. So such kind of variations, when they are seen in a geographical area, we refer it as the ecological diversity. So this are the three hierarchical levels of biodiversity. Then patterns of biodiversity. So in what way the biodiversity is distributed or related with each other. So we can differentiate two patterns: latitudinal gradients, then species area relationships. So latitudinal gradients, latitude, it refers to the geographical part of the earth. So in the globe or in the earth we see longitudes and latitudes. The equator is present. Now this latitudes which are present, So from the equator, where it is 0 degrees, so from the equator to the north pole and to the south pole, from the equator, if you move towards the north pole for about 23.5 degrees towards north, similarly from 23 towards the south, towards about 23.5 degrees towards the south. So in between this region, the species are very rich. So that is considered as the tropical area of the globe. So in the globe or the earth, from the equator towards the north and towards the south for a distance of 23.5 degrees, so that area is the tropical area. And above that, it includes the temperate area, and ultimately you will find the polar regions where the temperature is very less, nearly 0 or even sub-0 degree centigrade. Now in this area we find the species richness. So that means when we move from the polar regions towards the equator, the species richness will go on increasing. At the polar it is very least. At the temperate regions it increases than polar, and when we come towards the this equator from 23.5 degrees centigrade, from 23.5 degrees towards the equator, the number of the species or the richness of the species will increase. So that is there is a higher tropical biodiversity towards the equator. So that means there is a more biodiversity in the tropical region nearby the equator. Now why the biodiversity is rich in that area? So there are certain reasons for that higher biodiversity. So why there is less biodiversity in the temperate and why there is least in the polar regions? So here one thing, there are 4 important reasons for this. So one, the tropical area, that means 23.5 degree north to 23.5 degrees south, in that area. So since millions of years, when the earth is formed, that area is not disturbed. It is left undisturbed. But whereas the temperate and polar regions, they are disturbed, especially by frequent glaciations. So there are glaciations occurring in that region, and hence there is a disturbance in the climatic regions. That is one main reason. And then the environment is favorable there, and almost it is relatively constant. So already we have mentioned it is undisturbed. So this environment is constant and it is a kind of predictable climate. So we can predict that the climate will be of such a type. That is one main cause for the higher tropical biodiversity. Then there is more solar energy available in that area. So though the sun, the radiations, the solar radiations which are emitted by the sun, they reach the earth, but however the availability of the solar energy is maximum or more than the other areas. So it is more in the tropical areas, but when we compare, it is lesser in the temperate and polar regions. So it may be due to the glaciations of the environment present in that area. Then another important is there is a reduced competition in that. Because of the reduced competition, the species richness is maintained. So as the competition is more in the temperate regions, so that is why there is a elimination of certain species, and thus the biodiversity is comparatively lesser in the temperate. And also there is high resource availability. So whatever resources are necessary for the development or the growth and development of the plants and animals, so it is more available in the tropical area, and that is why these are the 4 important reasons why there is higher tropical biodiversity. Then the second pattern of the biodiversity is the species area relationships. So this species area relationship is it is the relationship between the area of the habitat and the number of the species found in that habitat. Suppose if there is an area So what area is present and the number of the species in that area or in that habitat. So as the so it is the area and the number of the species are related to each other. So as the area is increased, the number of the species also will increase. So that means there is more introduction of new species, and hence the number of the species will increase according to the area. So Alexander Humboldt, an ecologist, he proposed the idea that species richness increases with the increased area up to a certain limit, and that is also not continuously, but there is a limit for the increasing of the number of the species, richness of the species in that area. And this relationship has been shown by the help of a simple graph. In this simple graph, which is represented by the species richness in the one axis and the area in the other axis, so we can show that the species richness and the area of that region, it indicates, or it is represented by the help of a rectangular hyperbola. When there is wide variety of species or taxa, we can say, so that is represented by S is equal to CAZ. Suppose if the same is represented in the form of a logarithmic scale, so it indicates a straight line, and that is written with the help of an equation, log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Now where S is the species richness of that area, C is the y-intercept, and A is the area of that habitat, and Z is the slope line, or sometimes it is also called as the regression coefficient, and this Z value can be calculated in that area. So usually in a normal area, means not small or very large, in a normal area the value of Z is found to be 0.1 to 0.2. But however, when you take a large area, for example a large continent, if you take, area means not a particular forest. So when you take the whole continent as a whole and consider the species richness and that area, however the value will become 0.6 to 1.2. So that is just an idea of the value of this Z, or the slope of the line, which is also called as the regression coefficient. Thank you.